start off just by introducing yourself, say what you do, and,
Sure.
and you've got the OnLive right behind you, so that's
great. John Spinale, VP of Games and Media for OnLive.
So for someone that's not heard of OnLive before, has no idea what it is, how would you describe it?
So OnLive is a cloud gaming platform. So unlike the platforms of today where you have a bunch of kit in your living room connected to your television, what we've done is we've moved all the hardware necessary for that up into a data center. And then that allows us to, over just any broadband internet connection, deliver super high-end gaming experiences without any really additional hardware in your home.
So you've taken the choice to partner with BT. Can you talk through a bit about the decision to go with BT over other?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, as a gamer, you don't necessarily need to be a BT subscriber to work with OnLive. Anybody, any ISP or broadband provider works. However, BT, was a great partner for us because they obviously know a lot about the internet plumbing, in the UK here, as well as how to package up nice, well-formed broadband consumer offerings. And so, together, and they really get gaming, actually. You'd be surprised for a big telco, but they genuinely are passionate about gaming and are, dedicated to providing a really good experience to, our mutual customers, so that's great.
Yeah, so one of the things you've been doing here at Eurogamer Expo is you've been giving out, the official launch yesterday, you've been giving out to registered customers boxes.
Yeah.
So is that the only way that people can get involved with OnLive? Do they have to have a box?
No, you don't. So if you have a PC or Macintosh connected to the internet, you just go to onlive.co.uk, download a tiny little browser plugin. It takes a few seconds, and you can be playing OnLive, right then and there. No hardware required. Same thing if you have a tablet, if you have an iPad or an Android tablet, go to the App Store, download the OnLive client. You can be up and browsing the experience. If you want to connect it to your telly, though, then you actually need what we call our micro console, which I can show you what that looks like. It's a tiny little box that connects to the television.
So is that the only difference is there any difference in quality whether you're browser-based or whether you've got the box? Will one be faster than the other?
They're all identical. That's the joy of, the benefits of cloud-based gaming, right? Is that the game is actually running on a big server in a data center somewhere else, in this case Luxembourg, actually, and then streaming the video down to you really quickly enough that you don't really notice the fact that it's far away. But then it allows us to give the same experience on every single platform. So over here we have tablets and PCs and laptops playing very high-end games that obviously would never run on those types of hardware devices natively.
Okay, cool. How would you get people who are heavily invested in the current generation of consoles, have spent hours on their achievements and have a massive game score, how would you get them across to OnLive? How do you sell it to them?
So everybody has a different reason for why they try out OnLive. I think the first reasons is the value right now is fantastic. Your first game is £1, so why not try it out? But what you find is that everybody has a different reason in the States as well. We have 150 games on the service. Every one of them has a demo available. So you can be playing a demo of a massive portfolio of games in just a matter of seconds. And so if you want to try something out before you buy it, maybe even on your existing console, OnLive is a great place to go experiment and play. And then what you find though is the benefits of the platform really start to kind of sink in, and a lot of people actually stick around and starting to migrate off of existing platforms. At the end of the day, we all have our platforms that we like to play games on, and I think we'll probably stick with them for the rest of this console generation.
So you talked a bit about the US there. It's quite well known that here in the UK the broadband infrastructure isn't quite as robust as the US is. So how do you combat sort of low internet speeds over here?
Oh, you'd be surprised. We have a pretty big country in the States, and it's not that well plumbed either. And I think what we developed the service on was the fact that the internet is an evolving medium, and it really wasn't ever designed originally to support all these real-time data systems. But so the system works on today. OnLive works on any broadband connection with over 3 megabits downstream, and so that's the vast majority when you look at the gaming households around the UK. But that said, that's why we are partnered with British Telecom and in the States AT&T, because they are the people who are absolutely building out massive fiber infrastructure to allow internet to get faster and faster, both on the backbone as well as to the home.
So do you see a limit to the service? Thinking a few years' time when the next generation of consoles are coming in, will OnLive be able to cope with a step up graphically and in terms of the size of the game?
Sure. So I think when you think about what we're able to do as a cloud-based gaming platform, we already have rendering power, hardware, CPUs that are faster than this generation of console today. So your gaming experience will be better than it is on Xbox or PlayStation. But what we also have the ability to do is continue to rev in our data centers the hardware. So we just released version 2 of our hardware a couple of weeks ago, where so the gaming experience in the background just keeps getting better and better. It allows us to turn on more switches and knobs and up the fidelity of the games. And so higher and higher performance games are coming out on OnLive that are possible in today's console or PC world. And so I think rather than a step function, which is how consoles work in the past every 5 or 6 years, what we're able to do is actually can add a linear growth element to it. So your experience just gets better and better over time, and you never have to switch out your kit to buy the next one. So I think as the next gen consoles come out, and we'll see what they look like and what differences they have. A consumer's going to have a choice. Do they want to buy the next big piece of hardware for £300-400, or do they want to just connect to OnLive, which is very, very low cost, if anything?
Yeah. In terms of the big publishers, you've got a number of them that have signed up, like Ubisoft and that. Which publishers haven't you got signed up yet that you're aiming for?
I think when you look at the variety of people that we have, I think it's about 75 publishers, all from tiny little indie guys that are two-man shops in Sweden making great software, all the way up to the big publicly traded companies like Ubisoft, Take-Two, THQ, and everyone's experience is a little bit different in terms of how quickly they embrace the platform, but what you're seeing now is sort of an explosion of content on the system. So we went from, in the US when we launched a year ago, 18 games to now over 150 games and growing very rapidly. And those are the new release, AAA, day-and-date content, like Deus Ex that just came out on OnLive the same exact moment that it came out in all the retail stores around the UK. But one of the benefits of having it in the cloud system is people start playing it at 12:01 on the dot, and doing all the things that they like to do in terms of quick run-throughs and whatnot.
Do you have any plans to move beyond gaming? It seems that gaming is probably the most difficult thing to stream. Would you consider moving into movies or music or anything like that?
I think the answer is certainly we consider those things, but we need to say what's the real value to the consumer. I think right now we've disrupted the way the games are built and delivered and taken hardware out of the equation, which is always a big expensive purchase for consumers. So that's the biggest value right now. There are plenty of ways to get your music. Spotify does a wonderful job. I think the same thing with Love Film in the movie world. And so I think strategically where we could add small bits of value, we might stick a toe in the water. But I think in the end we'll probably end up partnering with the big guys.
Okay. In terms of the UK launch, how are you quantifying success? Is it in terms of the number of people that plug in boxes? Is it subscribers or repeat subscribers? How are you justifying that?
The way we take a sort of an odd approach to this, but it's consumer happiness really. It's how many people come on board and have a great experience. And whether that's a small number initially or a large number, we'll see. And it seems to be going pretty well so far. We're actually a little surprised by how warmly we're being embraced, which is great. It's very good. But at the end of the day, I want everybody who logs on to have a great experience, because that's how you build long-term customer loyalty. And so thus far, I think we've gotten really great reaction. It's been one day in, but getting plenty of buzz on Twitter and whatnot. And so we'll see how it goes.
So I guess the biggest question, and probably the most contentious, is looking at the current generation of consoles. Do you see that OnLive has effectively replaced the need for a console at all? And do you think that OnLive will be the future, and there will, in a few years' time, there won't be any more consoles?
I can't say that it'll necessarily be OnLive, but I think the way the world is going is, cloud-based services are here to stay. You don't want a big computer in your living room if you don't need one. I think it fundamentally makes sense that media is delivered, over the internet, on demand, in real time. And, we're the first and presently only cloud-based platform, and so I think that gives us a really good position to continue to sort of build out the market and educate people. In the end, any robust market usually has multiple players, so we'll see what it looks like in a couple years' time. But for now, we're pretty optimistic that we've got a good opportunity right now. And again, one gamer at a time, we're letting people see what the experience is like, and they kind of vote with their time and and their wallets over time as they buy games on our platform as opposed to others. And we also announced a really big relationship with Game at retail because still a big part of the gaming experience is getting some professional advice, being able to touch and hold something in your hand. And especially in the UK market here, Game is a big part of the gaming world. And so we said, hey, that's a great way to actually still extend the experience out into the real world where people can pick up our micro console, touch it, feel it, see how it works, look at the portfolio of games available, before they commit to the platform. So it's working out really well for us.
Do you have games already lined up that are set to roll out on OnLive, and how quickly are games coming on? How quickly is the portfolio expanding?
So I think we probably release 3 or 4 games a week right now, and that's growing. And it's a collection of AAA day and date releases. So we have Saints Row the Third coming up real soon, Batman, Arkham City is coming up, and then those are the big AAA highly marketed titles. And then we have a huge library of kind of smaller things that you wouldn't necessarily see unless they were put in front of you. And we really search the world over for high quality indie content. Like there's a game called Limbo that's coming out really soon. Fantastic title. And I think it's gotten a fair amount of publicity for an indie game, but it's not something that you would just necessarily see in stores.
In terms of the big titles like Arkham City, are they available on OnLive at the same time as they are on console?
Absolutely, same exact second. In fact, but again, OnLive players can get it a little sooner because they don't have to wait for retail stores to open up, or they don't have to wait for a big 8-hour download or something. So, we absolutely have the same titles, that you would hope to on a new platform day and date.
Fantastic. So finally, how do people get involved with OnLive? How do they get it?
If you want to try it out on your PC or Macintosh, you go to onlive.co.uk and just download our little browser plugin. And if you want to jump in on the telly, you go to our website as well and you buy a micro console, or you come here to Eurogamer